folks in attendance as participants who are from Minicap. Okay? When I started with Minicap, I took a sabbatical for one semester to write a statistical computer program to work on what we had then called the data general system. It was a mini system, I guess they called it then. It was a basic computer which had 3 or 4 satellite terminals off from it. And I had taken a semester leave to write a whole bunch of small programs for the students to use just for the staff course. And in the first 2 weeks of my sabbatical, I started doing some research, and I found Minicap. And Minicap did everything I wanted. It was all done. It did it better than I probably would have done it. I said, I'm done. So I spent the rest of the time figuring out how to bring it on board and doing that kind of thing. And been working with Minicap since. I find it one of the very simplistic systems, very complete. I know a lot of people have complaints with some of the things that people complain about. I don't worry about, But the newer systems I find fantastic. So if you've never used Minicap before, I hope I have what we're going to do on the computer set up so that you can follow it without too much trouble. Anyhow, my topic is not Minicap. What I want to talk about is basically what's on that white sheet. What's on your pink sheet is how we get what's on the white sheet done. Okay? What I like to do in my classes is I like to use a lot of activities. I lecture part of the time. Sometimes whole period, sometimes 5 minutes, sometimes 10 minutes. It never depends on the topic. But very often, we will use the computer, and I will meet in a classroom just like this one, every day, all the time. Some days we will use the computer from the minute the students walk in until the minute they leave. Other days we'll only use it for 5 minutes. It just depends on how it blends in. But the way things are scheduled at MCC, if you want to be in here, you got to schedule your class in here full time. You can't be in here on Thursday this week and Tuesday and Wednesday next week. I mean, it just doesn't work that way. So you meet here all the time, and that becomes a regular basis. So it's some people don't like that, and some do. Okay? Most of the lessons I'm going to do, the 3 sessions I'm going to do, I'm going to do 3 different lessons that I do with my students. They are slightly different. I will let you have a copy of the other 2 later if you want them. They all follow the same basic format. I like to start a student computer-related activity by usually doing something on a small scale that they're familiar with. Then we do it on a little bit bigger scale, and then we do it on a massive scale. We try to organize things so that when they do it on a very small scale, you're kind of setting up exactly the way it's going to be done when you turn it over to the computer to simulate something 1,000 times. If you don't, obviously you blow them away. I mean, they're just totally lost, kind of flat. I find that most of the students really enjoy the computer activity kinds of lessons. I put a lot of demands on my lessons. I don't want them just to learn that day's lesson. I want that day's lesson to set up what's coming next week or the day after or a month later in the course. And I try to do it that way by integrating certain parts. I don't teach programming. So within my computer activities, I try to make sure I give them information enough to demonstrate how to use Minicap. Because basically, once you learn 4 or 5 fundamental things on Minicap, all the rest of them you figure out yourself, just like I had to figure them out myself. Okay? So you have to teach them how to open and save files and do the standard things if they haven't learned to use a computer anywhere else in the other kind of an application. But once they get by that, it's fairly easy, especially today because they're all Windows, so they're all cut and paste, all the activities are the same. The new version of Minicap, the report writing is a whole lot easier than it used to be. I used to have to open Word or write side by side and cut and paste between the 2. You don't even have to do that today. The new version of Minicap, the session was even friendlier. I still like to do the editing in Word myself because you have a whole lot of other options. It's a more complete word process. Okay? But I emphasize that the structure, and I write these lessons up, and they have all these demands, and that's what's summarized on the white paper there. What I want to do with you today is to illustrate one of the sessions, one of the lessons I do with my students. So you're basically going to play the role of a student coming to class for a particular lesson. Typical routine is they will get the copy just like you got the pink copy coming in. That's the hand draft, that's the initial draft. All the instructions are on it. As you go through the activity, I expect you to have pencil or pen in hand occasionally and write notes, answer quick questions. If this is a lesson that is to be written up and turned in as a written assignment, they go to the word processor Word, they pull up an electronic copy of the same thing, and they either type onto it their answers, if they're written answers, or they copy and paste from Minitab whatever statistics are to be part of that report. Then they print it out. I now no longer have to read their handwriting. I don't know about your students, but I have found recently that my students' handwriting is even worse than mine. Okay? And I'm getting older and more eye strain bothers me a lot. So that eliminates all that. So I like that. Plus, I feel like it's not as a statistics course objective, but it's an education objective. I've had more students tell me they learn more about using the computer in my stat class than they did in all the computer classes. Because somehow they always found a way to avoid doing it and having their friend do it. They didn't get away with that in Johnson's class. They actually had to do it. They actually had to learn to save, open files, and do some of those kinds of things. And so it's a side benefit that's not statistics. But I think it's just as important in today's world in terms of education. So I build all those things in. Okay? So what we're going to do is take a look at the problem that we're going to solve today. This question I have heard thousands of times. If you teach statistics, you probably have heard it several hundred times too. This is one that my wife and I frequently have discussions. My wife is an avid reader. And she's always saying, how can they tell so much from so few data? They got 30 students. They've got 25 subjects in this study. And they're making, as a result of this, they're making this claim about these millions of people. How can they do that? Did you have a student ask you that basic question? How can you rely on 30 pieces of information so well? Well, this is a demonstration of that, and to try to see how the information you get from 30 looks like the same information that you could get from several thousand. And you don't have to look at several thousand. So what we're going to do is we're going to simulate, by random generation, we're going to generate a large sample of 5,000 pieces of data. Then we're going to play the game. We can only look at 30 of them and try to see what we see in those 30 and how it compares to those 5,000. Then we're going to do it over again several times and see if what we see in the second time, the third try, if it looks at all like what we found the first time. Did you ever have a student tell you when they saw a histogram that looked like this, that it was bimodal or trimodal? The gaps weren't big enough. Yeah, there was a little gap there, but there's all kinds of reasons for it. So they're going to see this now. This one starts with a normal population, a normal set of data, and we draw samples. Okay? I'm trying to show you some skills of Minitab as we go, and so on. So let's get started, okay? Most of you are on the Program Manager page. Go down to the lower left-hand corner where it says Start, point and click. Up will pop a pop-up menu, go up to Programs and click. Then on the next one, go to Departmental Applications and click. And then Mathematics, and then to Minitab 12, and then Minitab. And in a matter of a couple seconds, you should have the Minitab window, the Minitab project as it's now called. We have lots of different courses in here, lots of different applications, so it's pretty well hidden in that array. Did everybody find it all right?
I just lost it. What did I do?
Okay.
No, I lost it.
Start over again.
Okay, start over. Okay, there you go.
Click at Start. Click at Start. come up to
Oh, you
programs.
guys are so fast, or I should just,
Start button is in the lower left-hand corner, isn't it?
no, start button. Programs, department applications. Mathematics. Mini tab.
This thing is going to be over on that side of a different computer.
Mini tab 12. And then just go mini tab on the
Right,
last.
because you're already in 12. As soon as you click on it, did you get theirs?
Right.
General app,
Right.
not general app, programs, general applications. Supposed to come up from part program, departmental applications, go back to start. Departmental applications, programs.
Right.
You see departmental operations? I don't even see departmental operations on there, do you?
Applications.
No. No,
Right.
no, no.
Yeah.
Come to mathematics. Mini tab 12, doing this, and then mini tab. Does everybody have it? Who doesn't? I can't see your screen down there, man. Are you there yet?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're out. You've opened it already. Somehow you've reduced your size.
No, it hasn't come with it. File not found. What am I gonna do? Stop it.
That's one thing you have to learn if you do teach in the computer lab is always expect the unexpected. I think if you click on it each stage, you don't lose it as quickly.
Right.
We're going to get there yet.
Mm-hmm.
How many still don't have it? Be patient with this, folks. You got to wait for me, okay? You're all set. You're starting to work. Click on it. Click on it. Now we're down here. We got to go across. We're down this window. Now we're down. Now click. Now go over here. Now you should get it. Well, you found it this time. Okay, now, an explanation of Minitab. What you have now is a project. This is new terminology with Minitab 12. The whole thing is a project. On this project window, you can have lots of different windows. The top half of yours right now is called the session window. The bottom half is a worksheet. That's where your data goes. With new Minitab, you can have multiple worksheets. You may save the session window separately, the worksheet separately. Later there will be graphs. You can save them separately. Or if they're open when you save the project, it saves them like a bundle, all in one. So your student, which is, those are really what the complaints before, because you couldn't go back in and reopen the session and stuff. Now you can go back and reopen the session. So if you work on Minitab today, get your problem half done, you save it, come back tomorrow, open it back up, and you can pick up right where you left off. That didn't used to be the case. You had to go through a little gyration to compensate for that, okay? So anyhow, here's all, it's all point and click. The little arrow says followed by. So you go to the first one, point and click, go to the second one and follow the instructions. I'll walk through it with you for a while. We're in part A, a large set of data, right? Step number 1, 5,000. We're going to generate 5,000 data. So across the toolbar, find the word CALC, calc. Pull down, find random data, followed by normal. A normal dialog window will come up. In the first blank of that, it says generate, you enter the number 5,000. Underneath that, now you can go to the next little input spot by either hitting the tab key or point and click, whichever you prefer to do. Store in C1, it does not matter whether it's uppercase or lowercase c. It's not case sensitive, it doesn't matter at all. Mean, enter the number 100, standard deviation, enter the number 20, followed by an OK, and it will create 5,000 numbers in column 1. Go down on the window, the worksheet window, click on column 1 somewheres, right on top of one of the pieces of data. On your keyboard, hit End, E-N-D. Now, don't type it. Hit the key marked E-N-D. It should go clear to the bottom of your column, and it should be right opposite 5,000.
So click on one.
Click on OK.
Click on
There. Now,
Right.
you're on it.
Right.
Hit End, E-N-D,
Okay.
and you're down to 5,000.
Hit Home, and it'll go back to row number 1. So you want to take a quick look and see what you got. Now, like Bob Moser was just saying, what do we do? Graphic.
Right.
Picture is worth, they say 1,000 words, actually it's probably closer to 10,000 words. Okay, so go back to the session window. Go up to the top. You follow the instructions all right now? Okay, because I'm going to shut up and walk around behind you. So I want you working your way through it. That's how simple these instructions are to use. Okay, they're pretty friendly, I think. So just go ahead and start working. When there's a question, write yourself a little bit of a note. Proceed to the next page. And then hopefully we'll get through a fair amount of this, and then we'll be able to talk about what you're seeing. So just go right ahead and work right through it. There you are. See them? Sure, holding in the key, floating down. 5,000. Go right up to the next step. Pretty normal? I didn't see where Bob Moser got some of his graphs, right? If you plan on printing any of the graphs, because we only have 2 printers in the room, I'm going to suggest that you use the annotation called footnote and put your name on it. If you're not going to print it on the paper, if you don't care about printing it, you don't have to put the annotation in if you don't want to. But otherwise, if you print it out, we're not going to know whose is whose. Okay? Okay, you got to put your pointer on here, click, so that's an active cell. Hit M, and we'll go down to the end of the column. So you do have 5,000 up in there. Now, if you want to scroll wide, you can scroll wide one at a time. I'm convinced that it's for you. Okay, so now just go right to the next one. You observe it when you look at the dialog windows, and you'll see all kinds of options. I'm just kind of picking on a sample of them for you to discuss. I'm sorry. Oh, that's just like you read proportions. That's 20 to 180 by 5s. So that's your lower class boundary of the first class, the upper class boundary of the last class, and the class width. So we're kind of forcing it to, so we can compare them. If you don't have a big difference in your mind, you use a little bit different class boundaries, these kind of things, trying to compare. have a question, don't hesitate, just raise your hand. Okay. Now, here's an option. And annotation. Click on click it. Click no. Now you can zoom it, leave it. Oh, okay, okay. Okay. Is this okay? Now, you done all these things? Click okay again. See how you had a dialogue moving on the top of the dialogue. See how it goes both up, you did it well.
Wants to keep going?
Yep, just keep right on, motor right along.
Okay.
When you turn it over there in the corner, just keep going on. I think the people in these two rows, the printer's over here in the corner. I think the people over here, the printer's over here. But I'm not sure. They just have been doing some work in here and rearranged printers, so.
I'm just gonna leave this up for a while, Bob, just so people can see. Do you want me to leave it up for a while?
Keep going.
Oh, they are?
Oh, yeah, keep going.
Okay, oh my gosh.
Isn't that nice?
It is, it's gorgeous. Okay.
And you see, if you had, you chose to put that red line on, you could
Mhm.
have left that red line on.
Yeah, that looks, I like it though.
Question? Yeah. Yeah, this becomes scrap paper. Okay. So they write a note on there so that they know what they felt at the time. Then, cycle can be turned in, then they've got to key it in on the word processor documents. Oh, yes, 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 keep going. Just keep right on moving right along, yes, don't stop, keep going. If you all sit and wait, you won't get through it. Oh, that arrow, that carrot means follow on. That means now you have 5 in there, you're coming down here and press OK. Right now, are you going to print it? You're going to print it on the paper so you can see it? Okay, then label it by using the annotation. Give you a chance to type your name out. Okay, well, an easy way to find that, maybe you can control M, the opposite off. That's the session. That's the session. Well, you maximize it. You don't want to maximize, click on the middle button. No, that, you just closed it. That's what you did before. Now, the way you can find it, 2 ways to find it back. Control M, bring it back, or under window, you can have it come back. Control M is Control M. Now, click the middle button. It should go like caps lock, and just like any other. I just noticed something, folks. We do not have an active red prompt, do we? They were turned on in here last week when I tested these machines. We had the active prompt turned on. Okay. The commands I've actually go back and find are not up on your session window because we haven't told it to keep keep those commands. What we need to do is find the history window, I think. We just take a peek, because I don't usually do it this way. And then if this works, I'll tell you how to get it. There they are. Okay. You can do it one of two ways to find another window called the history window. The history window just keeps track of the commands you put in. Okay? You can go control, while holding the control key down, press 8, and you get the history window. If you got other windows open, don't do this now. Okay? Or up at the top on the pull down, under window, come down and click on history.
Right, that's what
and
I
it'll
did,
open
that's what I did.
that same history window.
That's
Now
right.
go on the history window, find the block of commands that are illustrated there. Point, click, and drag across them to highlight them. Control C. Does everybody use the word processor? So they Control C is copy. Then move over to the session window to the end. Oh, you're not going to have an end, so I don't know whether this is going to work. We may have to activate this prompt. I think that's what we got to do. Okay, because we don't have a place to paste it, to rerun it, you see. Okay. Can everybody get so they're out of a dialogue window? Stay where you are. Stay where you are. You're okay. Where do you stand? Okay. If everybody's out of a dialogue window, what we're going to do is we're going to do what's called enable the command language. Okay. Pam, you want to be our demonstrator here?
Oh, sure.
Go to editor. Go to editor. Not edit.
Oops.
Editor.
Undo, where's my undo?
Editor.
Okay, sorry.
Editors, just
Okay.
drag across to
Okay, good.
editor. Okay?
Oops.
That's not what I was expecting to find. Go over to window. There we keep
Yeah.
saying. Oh, I know what. You got to be on the session window first. I'm sorry.
Okay.
The session window has to be active. That means the bar across the top of this has to be blue. Got to go to the session window. The quickest way to get there is Control M. Control M will take you to the session window. Now I think it's under editor. Under editor, the third line down says enable command language. Just click on that. And now you will have a mini tab prompt where you enter stuff. Now if you've copied that block of commands, paste it with the cursor blinking right there. Control V for paste will paste that whole block of commands right there.
Oh, these, right? You're talking about this?
Well, we're talking about people who are on step 6B.
Mm-hmm.
6B identifies some commands that you're going to use over and over again. Have you drawn the first sample yet? Okay. Okay. Now, we got to go to the history window to find those commands. History. Now go back up here and find that block of commands. It starts with sample 30 and ends with G and history. Bottom four lines. Click and drag across them. Okay. Control C to copy. Now go back over here and click. Hit enter just to be sure you're in the right spot. Now Control V to paste. V. Re-enter all those all over again, and you get a whole set of new answers for all those commands. Bingo, just like that. So now you got a second history window. Now, go back there by that. And there, now go on Control C. I'll show you how to just do this. I'm sorry, Control V. to see them all at once?
Yeah.
Go through the window. Down here to manage graphs. Closed. Manage graphs. Highlight and drag across all of them. Look at the first one. Yeah, drag across all of them. Release. Touch tile. Tile. Done. And now you can see all the graphs that you've seen. These are your two big sets. And these are your repeated samples. Now the questions say, do these guys look alike? Obviously they don't. They have variation between them. Do they look like these? Well, stand back and squint. Okay, this is sample variation. And it's purest form. Okay, we know we're drawing them from here. Okay, this is a 30. Try 50. Try 10. See what effect sample size has. Now, these are data all drawn from a normal distribution. Do those distributions look normal? No, but they all seem to be bounded. They all seem to have about the same range. Now go to the session window and look at the calculated, the numerical statistics, and see what happened. Did we get the same mean all the time, or something similar? Did we get similar max and min values? We just kind of lay the groundwork for sample variability. Now remember, when we go out and sample that population, you're sent on the job out to take a sample on that population. How many samples are you going to go get? Are you going to do it 4 times? The boss said, go get a sample of 30. How many times are you going to go get 30? Which one do you have? You don't know. But you've got one. You think you got this one right. What can you read into this? Make them talk about it. It's painful. Okay? And that's basically what that's trying to get you to do. Now, I showed you here the cut and paste. If you go back on the session, slow it down, we'll take you back to this session. See, I don't think your control button. See, this is your control button. Because controls these, this is the data right there. Kind of put this back to the session. But here's the statistics. So what I usually do is I'll scroll up to the top of it and start down through, and by cutting and pasting, just cutting, I shouldn't say cutting and pasting, highlighting and deleting, delete the junk and pull the answers you want into a list. And you can pull right into a line like this, and then you can do it for the repeated sets and line them right up under each other. You don't have to retype it. And then you can make it, you cut it, copy it, and paste it into a report or whatever. How we doing, folks? Do you see the kind of activity that I'm trying to get them to see and to discuss? Okay? Built in here, as I said before, is a lesson about histograms, a lesson about how to get Minitab to do stuff for you. I always try to throw in a new wrinkle like managing the graphs and the tile command, you know, so that they become familiar with what those things are. They appear and used for any statistics and any graphs or any whatever you want to use them for. And they kind of build on this so that they're really learning about 4 different lessons. But their discussions hopefully are, take a look at these histograms. What do I see in them? Pam, did you have 4 or 5 of them here at one point?
No.
Have you done it repeatedly yet? No?
Aren't I supposed to type this in? Sample? Am I supposed to physically type this in?
No, no.
I didn't think so.
You're supposed to go to the history window. How many have only done one sample? Watch and let me walk through with you. Okay? Let's start over again. Pam has done one sample, and now she's at question number 6, part B. Here's the routine. You go to the history window, which is under Window History, or Control H,
You go over here to this little window and you find the commands. What's it say to start at? Sample, isn't it?
Sample, right, sample.
Sample 30 down through GN hist. Okay, so there's the commands that you just used to draw a sample of 30 pieces of data from column 1, put them in column 2. You described it, that is, you calculated like 10 different numerical statistics for this data in column 2, and you drew a histogram of that column 2. You did that once. Now we want to do it again. Control C will copy this highlighted block. Just like in any word processor. You go back to the session window, click on the session window so the cursor is at the last MTB prompt, and go Control V, Victor, V for paste. Don't squeeze so
sorry.
hard, dear. Pam is sitting there. Look at. Okay? Don't be embarrassed. I'm sorry, I
look
didn't
how
mean
many
to
I did.
embarrass.
Oh, jeez.
Look at this, folks.
I did 3 million.
Okay? Leave them alone. Okay? Here's where she entered it, right here. And she's entered it once.
Jeez.
What's it going to do? She's entered it about 4 times. You know what it's going to do? It's going to do 4 more samples. Bling, all at once. So what? Hit enter, and it'll do them all. Now watch it fly. Up as, oh, it aborted. You made a liar out of me.
So it knows more than I.
All right, do it again. Control V, gently this time. Okay, and now hit enter, and there's one. Come back and get to the prompt, Control V, hit enter. There's another one. Control V, oh, I gotta get you to the prompt first. You always gotta go back to the prompt. Control V, and enter. Now she's done 3 of them, I think, or 4 of them, I don't know which. Now we wanna see them all. So we go up to Window, go down to one called Managing the Graphs. This will give you a list of all the graph windows that you have open at this point. Click on the top one and drag across all of them. And tell it to do what's called tile. Did you ever lay tile? Do you have tile in your kitchen or in your bathroom? What do you suppose it's going to look like? It's going to tile them all out side by side so you can see them all. Now here's where I want them to discuss it. Here's 2 graphs of the original 5,000. They look normal. They were centered on a certain value. They had a certain amount of spread. I want 3 pieces of information when my students describe a sample to me. Shape, center, and spread. To me, those are the 3 most critical. Now, I know there are other things, and there are other things that are very important. But right now, for the first semester stat student, if I can teach them 2 of those 3, I'm probably thrilled. And you are too, right? So 3 is a good number here, okay? So here they are. They've described these earlier. Now they've described one of these a few minutes ago. Now they've got 3 more. And I think the question says something like, how do these 4 samples compare? Do they all look alike? Kind of squint at them. Get back a little ways from them. Do they look alike? How are they similar? What do you think the typical sample looks like? What shape do these 4 suggest for a sample? What are the numerical statistics? What's the mean? What's the minimum, the maximum? Do they tend to repeat? Are they similar? Okay? How do they compare to the 2 big graphs, the big set of a 5,000? Now at this point I want to go back to the session window. Okay? I'm going to scroll up the session window because we've done this several times. Okay, so we've got these repeated results several times. I'm looking at question 6E now. I want them with E's to make a chart for me. Okay, here's the 5,000. I don't need to say variable, so I'm going to highlight, you're going to press the delete key. Every time I touch it, you're going to press the delete. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to delete about the same amount of stuff underneath it. Okay? Delete a couple more times. Bring 5,000 right over to the edge. Okay, oops. Add 5 back. Okay, bring N over now, a couple. I'm not gonna do all this, I'm just gonna block this out and do it, a quick version of this. I'm gonna do just the first row. N, mean, median, TR mean, whatever that is, standard deviation, and SE mean. I think in the thing I said, cut out the SE mean. If you've looked at the 4th page, one of the things I like to do in these is to convince them that they know how to use the help menu. So the question at the end is, look up and find out what TR mean is. It's nothing we studied in class. It's just called the trim mean. What do you suppose it is? If you were going to trim a set of data and calculate the mean, what would you do? Chop off the end ones and calculate the mean, right? Well, it's a very simple definition, and I think anybody in my class ought to be able to look it up and figure out what that means without too much trouble. So I give them an assignment to use the help like that, to look up something that's new once in a while, something they already know, whatever, so that they try to get them to be self-reliant. Anyhow, this is the stuff for the 5,000. I don't want this other, okay? I don't need, I'm going to save a line. I don't need these labels because they're the same labels. And now here's my first sample, okay? Now we don't need these, so we'll, whoop, I forget how fast this thing is. These pennies.
Tell me about it.
My old-fashioned one at home
I think that's
can't
right.
think this quickly, so. But do you see what I'm doing? I'm just gonna cut out blocks of stuff here that I don't want now. Be careful so I don't get too much. There we go. Click it once more and bring the 30 under. Okay. And now we can just pull up our information. Whoop, don't jump on me too quick here. Okay, we didn't. Okay. All right, I can just trim out the stuff I don't want and form a table. Put a space in. Now, how does the mean vary for my samples? The big sample of 5,000 had what? 1.4, right? Samples had means of? Gee, none of them are 100.4. Is that good or bad? Make them talk to you. Are they close? Are they as close as you expected? Look back at the population. How far away from 100 would you think far away would be? This is part of what I think, this is my way of saying what I think Jessica was saying this morning. Get them to think about it. Worry less about sum of x over n. Worry more about what did I get, what does it mean, is it what I expected? Try to get them to ask questions. And you realize I'm talking about the typical student taking into a staff who's probably not going to become a practitioner. They're going to hopefully read this morning's newspaper intelligently. Okay? And so you've got to make them question. And if you get them to start questioning, it's almost like an avalanche. They usually question more and more and more. What time are we?
What
1
time?
o'clock?
Yeah, about 5 up there, 1 o'clock.
Okay? But graphs, I believe graphs first. I believe in pictures. I think Bozer was saying that. I mean, if you understand anything at all about the population, and you've had any mathematical experience of any kind with graphing, to look at a graph that's already constructed, you can read it. They have a lot more difficulty constructing it. And that's what we've done for years as math teachers and teaching statistics. We have worried about it, and we have taught the statistics. Again, this is the Johnson way of saying it. We've taught statistics like it's an algebra class. We've worried about the formulas. We've worried about abscissas and ordinates. Not that we can do away with that, or that we should, but that's not the most important thing, I think, in a stat class with English today. It's looking at it and realizing that they can read into it based on everyday life, their other academic experiences. They don't have to come to statistics class with only their math education in their head. Statistics is not mathematics. For me, statistics is as much mathematics as physics is mathematics. Mathematics is the language behind the scene.
statistics is an application of it. And they think it's mathematics. And I think we think it's mathematics. It took me 20-some years to figure that out. And I thought I was a fairly smart mathematician. But it took a while to really see the difference. And I think it does make a difference on your approach. And the number of kids coming in your class and being successful, it makes a difference on how many are successful with where you put that emphasis. I think I'm just turning them on. I find students, once they get hooked on using the computer, that very often reaches a group of students that nothing else does. Commercial. Pat Cooley is going to do one of mine and her favorite lessons. When I go do a workshop, I always do this one with a workshop. And it's the unit that she's going to do tomorrow morning on the Minicab's high-res graphics, where you actually can go in these graphs and you can modify them and you learn to edit them. There's a full graphics editor. Somebody knows about it. She's got it up over here. They get hooked with it. When I do that lesson in my classes, from that point on, the homework assignments that are turned in are like twice the quality they were before. I don't know why. It's not that I taught them something new and magnificent that day. It's I hooked them that day. That's what you got to do, right? I think that's my biggest job as a teacher, is to be a salesman. Until I successfully sell my product, they don't listen, they don't respond. But that's my way, one of my ways to get at them. And I like this kind of lesson to do that. Okay? Questions? Because otherwise we're going to miss lunch. Probably somebody will eat it. And I don't know about you, but I'm hungry. Any questions? Okay? Now, this lesson is on, in file form, it is on the hard drive, okay, so that you can get it and copy it onto your disk if you wish, just like the files for Bob Bozer's sessions, just like the data files for a speaker tomorrow afternoon are on the hard drive. I will give you those things, and then at some point you can collect them. I don't want to do it now because I don't think you're ready to know which files you want to collect and stuff. And so I'll give you that information this afternoon. And then there's going to be plenty of time when you can get to a computer and use the file manager to just copy them over onto your disk. And I'll have all this instructions so you can locate them. And there'll be several of us around available to help you if you don't know how to locate them. Okay? Let's close this thing up. Don't turn it off. Stay there.
Just wanted to announce that we're coming back at 2 o'clock after lunch.
Okay.
And so
Let's
they'll know.
close these down. Okay? Are we set to end, or do you want to take something off before you do?
No, we had a question before we.
Oh, okay. Okay. What you have to do is you have to first of all be on the session window. They didn't get the prompt. Okay. You go off to editor. Here it says enable and language. And then you get the prompt. I don't know what happened. I sat down with the computer tech person last week in here, and we shut the machines down, and they came back up, and it was on there, and now they're all gone. So I guess in my next 2 sessions, I'm going to have to make sure that we put them on there. Okay, to close up your session, go to File, as Pam has here, and go to New, Release, so that you get a little dialog window. And now this is how you would add another worksheet if you want another worksheet on your current project. If you're all done and want to do away with your project, you ask for a new project, and it wipes out your project. Obviously, you can come back and reconstruct it anytime you want to. You have all the instructions, so there probably really is no need to save it. Okay? So, Mini-tab, New Project. Click on it, and click on OK, and it will erase the screen, and it will leave up a blank, I believe. Oh, it's going to ask you if you want to save. The answer is no. Then, I think you will find it's back to where it was to start with a blank screen. Leave it right there. Okay? All the sessions that are going to be in use that exact situation. So you suffered through the first part, the next group is gonna have to adjust that enable command language, and we'll get that situated. I apologize for that. I can only go around and check these machines so many times before you go nuts, you know? Yesterday I was in and I checked the ones that have Excel on, and I found a problem instantly, and so I had to redo those. I should have known they were here too. Pamela has an announcement about lunch, I think.
Just a reminder that lunch is over with a 2 o'clock session back in the original meeting room that we met in this morning in 8100 as we start our afternoon session. So our next time together is 2 o'clock. All right? Have a good lunch.
Lunch is that way, kind of follow it, it kind of does a little dog leg into the next building, and when you come to the first major intersection, you turn right. The restrooms are right there. The second set of stairs upstairs is the terrace. The first set is the library. You'll see a big sign overhead, the library and